Welcome back, Impact family. Alrighty, we have absolute value. So the question says, if y minus 3, absolute value, equals 3, what is the greatest possible value of y? So what you need to understand about absolute value equations is how you set them up is what's in the absolute value brackets stays the same. Okay, so we're going to do y minus 3, and then we're going to set that equal to, okay, a positive 3. But your other equation has to be y minus 3 equals a negative 3, okay? And then the key word here that you have to remember, it says, what is the greatest possibility, okay? So let's solve these one-step equations. So how do we get this negative 3 to the other side? Well, we would add 3 to both sides, and we get y equals 6, okay? Same here, if we add 3 here, we get y. Well, negative 3 plus 3 gives us 0. So the greatest possibility is C, and that will be your answer. Alrighty, let's do another one. So if the absolute value of x minus 5 equals 10, what is the smallest possible value of x? Okay, so here we're thinking about smallest. Again, we have to set up two equations. So what's in the absolute value bracket stays the same. Never change that. X minus 5 and then equals a positive 10, or x minus 5 equals a negative 10. Okay. And then how do we get x by itself? We look here, this is a minus sign. So we have to do the opposite of minus. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. And we get x equals 15. And then if we add 5 here, add 5 here, we get x equals negative 5. So what is the smallest possible answer would be B, negative 5. Okay, so number 3 says, if the absolute value of 4x minus 6 equals 18, which of the following is a possible value of x? So again, this stays the same. The 4x minus 6 stays the same because it's in the absolute value. So we're going to do 4x minus 6 equals a positive 18. But we also have to write another equation that says 4x minus 6 equals negative 18. Okay, so now this is a two-step equation. So the first thing we want to do is get this 4x by itself. So the problem is this negative 6 is with the 4x. To get negative 6 to the other side, we have to do the opposite of negative, which is positive 6. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. We're going to drop down our 4x, and 18 plus 6 is going to give us 24. Well, how do we get x by itself? Whenever you have a number attached to a variable, they're multiplied. So to undo multiplication, we would divide by what's with the x. So we're going to divide by 4 to both sides. And so 24 divided by 4 is 6. All right, I don't see 6 over here, so let's solve this equation over here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this negative 6 by adding 6 to both sides. Be careful here because negative 18 plus 6, if somebody owes you $18, they paid you 6, they're still going to owe you $12. Okay. Again, we have to do the opposite of multiplication here. So we're going to divide by 4 to both sides. This cancels, and so we get x equals negative 3. So one of the possible values for this equation would be B. So number 4, I would love for you to pause the video right here, try A and B, and then check to see if you got the solution correctly. Alrighty, so remember, you need to set up those two equations. So we're going to do w plus 1 equals a positive 5. This stays the same. or W plus 1 equals a negative 5. Okay. And then we have to get W by itself. So since we have a plus 1 with a W, we want to get rid of that plus 1 by minusing 1 to both sides. So we get W equals 5 minus 1 gives us 4. Okay. Same thing with this equation. We want a minus 1 to both sides. But be careful here. Negative 5 minus 1. Somebody borrowed $5 from you. They said, let me get one more. Well, they would owe you $6. So that's negative 6. And these are your beautiful answers. Alrighty, let's set up B. So we have 7 minus 2D equals 3, or 7 minus 2D equals negative 3, okay? So the first thing we want to do is get this negative 2D by itself. So if we're trying to get this negative 2D by itself, that means we want to get rid of this 7. This is a positive 7. So if your brain is screaming negative minus 7, you're 100% correct. So we're going to minus 7 to both sides. So we're going to drop down our negative 2D, and then 3 minus 7 gets us a negative 4. Whenever you have a number attached to a variable, they're multiplied. To undo multiplication, we would have to divide by what's with the variable. Variable means letter, okay? So I'm dividing by negative 2 because I want this D by itself. So a negative divided by a negative is always a positive. And 4 divided by 2 gets us 2. All right, again, we want this negative 2D by itself. So what are we going to do? We're going to minus this positive 7 to both sides. So we're going to drop down our negative 2D equals negative 3 minus 7. It's going to get us negative 10. And remember, whenever you have a number attached to a variable, they're multiplied. Undo, divide both sides by what's with the letter. And that would be negative 2. So D equals, a negative divided by a negative is always a positive. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. Alrighty, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. I really hope this helps. And good luck on your test.